Mike Moore Media, the first place to hear Rockingham County news and information.
Welcome to our monthly podcast from Rockingham Community College. And on the line today, Derick Satterfield, Director of Enrollment Services at RCC. Hey, Derick, how are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Well, I know we have a lot of things you want to talk about, but first, tell us what you do at RCC as Director of Enrollment Services. What's that all about?
Certainly. As Director, I am sort of in charge, or I help recruit all students in our curriculum programs, these are programs that lead to diplomas, certificates, and degrees, and our Con Ed programs, which are usually about one-semester programs that lead to some sort of credential or licensure. But I get to bring everybody in the door, from high school students all the way through people in their 80s wanting just to improve their education.
Okay, part of the RCC team. Glad you're there. Well, I know you wanted to start by talking about spring registration, so bring us up to date.
Oh, good. Well, spring registration starts November 4th. Spring registration starts November 4th. I want everyone. We have a lot of openings. It's going to be great. We want everyone to call us as soon as they can. And just to let people know a little bit more about the spring schedule, our spring schedule, we have decided to go completely online again for the spring. Mm-hmm. Classes will either be what they call synchronous or asynchronous. I know those are very big words to say on a podcast, but synchronous basically means you're taking the class live. It's just like you would be in a classroom. You do it over video chat, so you see your fellow students, you see the teacher, you listen to the lesson, you can ask questions, and your fellow students can ask questions, and you hear everything. So it's really just like being in a class. In fact, sometimes I've heard from students, you forget that you're not in class. It's kind of weird the first time, but then your home melts away and you become part of that class. We're also offering what we call asynchronous classes. Those are classes that don't meet in person, and you're given assignments and deadlines, and you do the assignments kind of not at your own pace. That's the wrong thing to say, but you do them weekly, and then once you do the assignment, you turn in at the deadline, and you take a test at certain points. So that's the asynchronous.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now, we do have a few on-campus classes. Those will be our labs. Our science labs are going to be on campus because we want you to have for chemistry and biology and anatomy, we want you to have that hands-on experience.
Okay. You got to have it for some of those, haven't you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, everything has changed, and as we do these programs mm-hmm. monthly from campus there, it's just a whole different world, but it's still a good time to go to college, isn't it?
It's a great time to go to college. This is actually the perfect time. I know many people are home right now. They've either been furloughed or unfortunately been laid off from a job. We see that, unfortunately, this COVID is not going away anytime soon. So people may have a little more time on their hands, or they may have reduced hours. This is the perfect time to come to RCC, get a little more education, really either get a new job or improve your paycheck. Because as you have time, you might as well use it wisely and take an online class with us.
Sure. How are things working out with all of the changes, Derick?
They're working out very well. We were very proactive at RCC. We developed our online schedule for the fall back in May. We were one of the first community colleges to actually go totally online. It has worked out very well for us. I think students are enjoying it. The students are enjoying the synchronous classes, as we call them. They're also enjoying the classes that don't meet, in person. And mm-hmm. it just seems to be working out. Our enrollment is actually very strong for the fall. We were very encouraged by that, and I think students are really enjoying it. These classes.
Okay, very nice. You mentioned a moment ago Con Ed. What is that?
Con Ed is continuing education.
Okay.
These are courses that do not require the full enrollment process into the college. They are typically one-off certifications that you can come in and get, that adults typically come in and get some sort of training that leads to what we call a credential. That can be some sort of recognized either state license or even sometimes a national license in any number of subjects. Currently, most of our Con Ed courses focus around the healthcare industry. We have a certified nursing assistant known as CNA. We will have EKG technician, also called telemetry. That's taken the people who come in and put the electrodes in your heart and take the image of your heart. We have pharmacy technician. We have phlebotomy, which is we have bringing that back after a long absence. That is actually taking blood samples from individuals. And we have what we call medical assisting, which is assisting doctors inside doctors' offices. These all last about one semester, about 16 weeks. They sometimes start a little bit later in January than our typical curriculum classes, and they go through May. But they are very, very good courses, and that's probably the quickest way to improve your paycheck, just by getting one of those quick certifications.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we're always hearing good things about the demand that's needed in the medical field and healthcare and all of that. So there are a lot of good opportunities, aren't there, right there at RCC?
Absolutely. There's some great opportunities. Healthcare facilities, as you can imagine, are in touch with us quite a bit, looking for new people, new employees. They're running many more shifts than they used to, and they need to be fully staffed. So we're really, as soon as we graduate somebody, we're sending them on to the medical field. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, do you find some of those stay right here in Rockingham County, or are we distributing them out?
Oh, we distribute them out. We have some really big systems. UNC in Eden, and then we have Cone Health, which is Annie Penn in Reedsville. And they will stay regional for a little bit. They will stay in Rockingham County. But as you can imagine, the demand is so great in both Guilford and Forsyth that a lot of our students either choose to go because they get a bump in their paycheck, or they are kind of moved around with the Cone system.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I understand you have some good news about new scholarships available.
Absolutely. For the Con Ed programs that we just talked about, we have two. We have a former scholarship, which is called Eagle Train and Gain. This is a $180 scholarship that could be available to students, which will basically pay for your tuition for any one of those Con Ed classes that I just mentioned. And you come in and you sign up for the Con Ed class, you do a scholarship application, and if you meet the criteria, well, we might be able to award you one. And then new this year, the governor has given us money called a GEAR scholarship. These are scholarships specifically designed, it was specifically designed for COVID-19, getting adults back to work. This is a $750 scholarship. We have very few. They will be first come, first served, so we want to get people registered for those kind of courses as soon as we can, because $750 will basically pay for the entire course, between the tuition, your books, sometimes uniforming, equipment, and the certification exam at the end.
That'd is good.
Almost the full ride. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is good news. Okay.
Yeah.
So now, how do we go about getting on campus and doing that?
Well, it's very easy. You just go to our homepage, rockinghamcc.edu. That's rockinghamcc.edu. There's two areas. On our homepage, you can click on Apply Now, or you can go to the Admissions tab and click on the Apply Now button that way. It'll take you to a screen. You'll see a Step 1, a Step 2, and a Step 3. And you just complete all three steps. Step 1 is you got to complete what we call residency certification. This is a process where you just kind of prove where you live, and you prove that you live in North Carolina. Now, don't worry if you live in Virginia. Con Ed classes are still the same price for North Carolina and Virginia, so don't worry about that. But you still have to prove where you live. Step number 2 is to actually do our application. That takes about 10 minutes. It's a quick process. And the secret is you'll create a username and password for the residency, and you use that same username and password for your application. So it's an easy process. So it just kind of flows right through. And then Step 3, we're most proud of. Step 3 is our virtual appointments. You click on Step 3, you'll be given a calendar where you make an appointment that's most convenient to you, and we will either call you or initiate a Zoom call at the time you describe. And it's a 30-minute appointment, and we will talk about any question you may have about RCC, and just nothing is off limits. You can just ask us anything, and we've gotten had some really great conversations with some people in Rockingham County.
Oh, wonderful. 1, 2, 3. It's easy.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, you don't even have to come to campus at all.
All righty. Life is good, even in challenging times. Yeah.
It is.
I wanted to talk about you before we finish up a little bit, because
Sure.
I know about your family and education for many years, and your dad and background there, and you. How long have you been at RCC, and what does Rockingham Community College mean to you, Derick?
Oh, sure. It means the world to me. I've been here for about 12 years now. Before that, I was a really small community college for 3 years called Maylands Community College up in between a little town called Spruce Pine, which is really halfway between Boone and Asheville, so in the middle of the mountains up there. Mm-hmm. So I came here. I grew up in Greensboro, so I wanted to come back home. So I've been here about 12 years, and this is it means RCC is really the center of the community. We are here. We're the only higher education in Rockingham County, and we're basically here to serve the students. And what makes us different than a university is we can tailor our classes very quickly to the needs of our students. So if we see something is in need, we will have it. As I go back to, we have a central sterile processing, EKG technician. Those courses were developed specifically for the needs that were addressed at the local healthcare facilities here in Rockingham County. They asked for those positions. We would develop the training. Now we can train people to find jobs here in the county. So it's really good, and it's been sort of my life's work because anyone can take the best students on earth and make them just a little bit better like they do at Harvard. But if you can take someone who really wants to work hard, wants to improve their life, we are here for you and can really help you. In as little as one semester, we can improve your job outlook.
Well, it's very accommodating at RCC and personal and one-on-one. That makes a big difference.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And talk about a little bit about my background. I did come from a very educational background. My father was the assistant principal at Greensboro Day School and worked there for about 40 years, and my mother had nearly 40 years with the Rockingham, was as an elementary school teacher with Rockingham County, last at Williamsburg.
It's in your DNA.
It is.
Yeah. Well, we're glad you're part of the team at RCC. Got a couple of minutes left. Is there anything you want to close with, Derick?
Sure. Just make sure that, as I always talk to groups and I talk, the first thing I always ask them is who wants $1 million? I'm willing to offer everyone listening to this podcast $1 million, especially if you're young. Because just last year, the Department of, Department of Labor determined that the difference between a high school graduate and a college graduate, and it can be any college, it can be a 1-year, a 2-year, or a 4-year degree, but a college graduate and a high school graduate, the difference in your lifetime earnings is going to be $1 million.
Wow.
So if you go to college and your buddy didn't, you're going to earn $1 million over your lifetime. Now, I've got about 20 years in. I may not earn $1 million more, but someone starting out their life, they're going to earn $1 million more than someone who just gets a high school diploma.
Putting that in perspective very nicely. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. And Derick, thank you. I appreciate your time and your work there for the students and everything you're doing on campus at RCC. It's good to talk to you. Thanks a lot.
Good to talk to you, too. Thank you so much.
All the best.
All right.
Derick Satterfield is Director of Enrollment Services at Rockingham Community College. I'm on their website right now, and I see a couple of topics here. High schoolers can earn a free manufacturing technology degree. Eagle Fuel Food Pantry, that's recently opened, getting a lot of good exposure. And good news on the Trails program at RCC. So please check out their website for lots of good information. Derick referred to that on a couple of topics as well. That's rockinghamcc.edu. And I'm Mike Moore. Thank you for listening.